So we have so far discussed about the external sector in the Indian economy and with which we have discussed about the balance of payments. Now we're looking at the trade and the foreign trade in particular. So composition, geographical direction, composition of trade as far as India is concerned, export of goods and import of goods. Let's understand that. So major items including petroleum products, gems, jewelry, pharmaceuticals, machinery, and engineering goods, which are very much in news nowadays as US tariffs are playing havoc. So imports, major items include crude petroleum. That is the reason why US is having issues with India due to Russia. You understand that, right? Crude petroleum, largest component. Gold, electronic goods, coal, and machinery. Services, India is a major net exporter of services, primarily due to the strong performance of software and IT-related services. Again, IT sector, software, reasons why uh, for last 30 years US is taking our Indian brain in the IT sector, and we have all topmost executives working from India and there. And now, as they are having their internal issues, US specifically, they are creating problem for our IT related sector. Now, geographical directions, major partners, US, UAE, China, Saudi Arabia, Hong Kong, Singapore, important ones. Okay, let's have a look now. Trade agreements. These agreements are designed to reduce trade barriers, tariffs, non-tariff barriers to promote trade. Bilateral means between two countries, India, Japan, CEPA, India, Mauritius, CECPA. Then comes regional among a specific group of countries in a geographical area, SAFTA and Asian India FTA. Now, next comes multilateral among three or more countries, typically under the aegis of global institution. Now, GATT, WTO agreements, free trade agreement, members reduce, eliminate tariffs on substantially all trade in goods. India Asian FTA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, broader than FTA, covers trade in goods, services, investment, competition, intellectual properties. India South Korea CEPA. Now let's look at WTO. So World Trade Organization WTO is to liberalize international trade, reduce tariffs and other barriers, ensure a stable and predictable trading system, and resolve trade disputes. Also, World Trade Organization administers trade agreements, acting as a forum for trade negotiations, settling trade disputes, and providing technical assistance to developing countries. Then, Agreement on Agriculture. Now, let's understand aims to reform trade in the agricultural sector, covers domestic support, subsidies, green, blue, amber box, market access, tariff reduction, export competition. Trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights sets minimum standards for various forms of intellectual property, example patents, copyrights, critical for pharmaceuticals and technology transfer. Now, patents are meant for any scientific discovery. Copyrights are meant for anything which is written, like books, architectural designs, which cannot be copied. So right to copy is with the publisher, or right to copy is with the producer of that particular product. Like in films, like in music industry, you have copyrights. Patents is for mobile there will be a patent. For air conditioner there will be a patent. Patent is for those. Now these are all called as licenses. Apart from patents and copyrights, we also have trademarks and trade secrets. Now these are critical for pharmaceutical and technology transfers. Now trade-related investment measures. There is a lot of information in here in these topics, but we have to not deeply go into it because we have to answer right now. Our major target is prelims, okay? And when we will be uh, discussing and I'll be making videos on the topic for mains, then we will be constant, like each of these organizations, we'll be going deep into it. That when they started, where they started, what was the purpose of this organization? Because those questions are very different in comparison to these questions. Here we need to have little bit information about almost everything. There's a lot to cover. We cannot. You might be thinking कि सर आपने वो बहुत सारे ये आए थे क्या बोलते हैं उसको एक्रोनिम्स आए थे उनके आपने फुल फॉर्म क्यों नहीं बता रहे हो कितने फुल फॉर्म्स याद करोगे नहीं कर पाओगे फुल फॉर्म्स कोई पूछता नहीं है आपको करना सिर्फ उतना ही है जितना रिक्वायरमेंट है तो आप इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस का बेसिक बेसिक एक पकड़ लो कि ट्रिम्स इन्वेस्टमेंट मेजर्स के ऊपर है बस उतना ही आपने याद रखना है आपको ट्रेड रिलेटेड इन्वेस्टमेंट मेजर्स ट्रेड ट्रेड की ही बात हो रही है टॉपिक पूरा ट्रेड पे ही चल रहा है तो ट्रिप्स भी ट्रेड के ऊपर है पर वो ट्रिप्स किसके ऊपर चल रहा है आईपीआर के ऊपर चल रहा है इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स के ऊपर चल रहा है तो इस हिसाब से आपको चीज़ों को हल्का हल्का दिमाग में रखना है with this methodology we are studying this topic अभी मैं आपको जानबूझ के ये चीज़ इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि आपको ये ना लगे कि सर हम ज़्यादा टाइम भी नहीं स्पेंड कर रहे क्योंकि ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करने से आपका फ़ायदा नहीं होगा नुकसान होगा ओके टाइम इज़ रियली a commodity which has to be dealt with lot of care now आगे चलते हैं India's position generally advocates for special and differential treatment for developing countries now seeks protection for its domestic food security, public stock holding for food grains, and the right to provide subsidies for low-income farmers. Then comes TRIPS, favors flexibilities like compulsory licensing to ensure access to affordable medicines and technology. Then comes foreign investment. Now here we are looking at FDI versus FPI. FDI, we have discussed FDI earlier as well. And FPI we have just come across the full form of FPI इतना ही किया था हमने FDI फंड इन्वेस्टमेंट में पता है FPI में पता है कि फंड पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है करेक्ट नाउ नेचर लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट FDI with a lasting interest significant control FDI में lasting interest significant control है यहाँ पे शॉर्ट टर्म है पैसिव है फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट शॉर्ट टर्म है पैसिव है investment in financial assets, stocks, bonds, derivatives without management control. Stability, more stable. Now, FDI में आपका lasting interest है और significant control है, like establishing a new factory, acquiring a majority stake. तो वहाँ पे आप किसी कंपनी के मालिक बन जाते हैं किसी फैक्ट्री को ओन करते हैं या आप किसी कंपनी में मेजॉरिटी स्टेक ले लेते हैं जिससे कि आपकी डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर आपके हाथ में रहती है अब यहाँ हम बात करें स्टेबिलिटी की ये मोर स्टेबल है लेस प्रोन टू क्विक विड्रॉल है यहाँ पे मोर वॉलेटाइल है यहाँ पे मार्केट ऊपर नीचे जाती है उसके हिसाब से सेंसिटिव है इन शॉर्ट टर्म मार्केट कंडीशंस इट्स अ हॉट मनी ओके एंट्री पॉइंट प्राइमरी मार्केट creation of new assets or secondary market acquiring substantial stake defined as equity ये secondary market trading listed securities done. Next is impact brings capital. So जो FDI है that brings capital, technology, skills, employment, promotes real economic growth. और जो आपका FPI है primarily provides liquidity and depth to financial markets. Done. अब हम आ जाते हैं trends and policy framework पे. FDI trends. India has consistently received high FDI inflows post-liberalization, often through automatic route. No prior government approval for most sectors. Policy framework governed by the FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 and consolidated FDI policy circulars. So routes at automatic route, majority government route requires prior approval from the Concerned Ministry or Department. Recent changes introducing caps in sectors like insurance and defense and screening of FDI from countries sharing a land border with India for national security. External commercial borrowings पे आते हैं. Loans taken by resident Indian entities from non-resident lenders. That is external commercial borrowings as the name suggests. Nature usually a debt instrument in foreign currency, example USD, Euro. Purpose to finance capacity expansion, new investment, import of capital goods, etc. Regulation. RBI regulates ECBs through norms regarding maximum permissible limits, eligible borrowers, lenders, end users, and maturity periods. Risk is in ECBs, they carry a currency risk for the borrower as the rupee value of the repayment amount increases if the rupee depreciates. They also add to the country's external debt. That's it for today. Thank you.